Hello and welcome to Navigating with Key. My name is Kenneth Eneojor Asenime, KEA Key, and I'm your regular host of this program. It has been quite a week for me, a week filled with mixed emotions. Some really amazing things happened. And at the same time, I also received some difficult news. But in the middle of it all, I made a deliberate decision. I chose to celebrate the good news and remain hopeful about the things that didn't go the way I wanted. You see, life is really about choices. And this week, I chose happiness over sadness. It wasn't the easiest choice to make, but in the end, it felt like the better choice. Today, we'll be reflecting on an article titled, There is Always a Choice. So if you're ready, I invite you to come along with me. Let's do this. Yes, so one of my biggest mentors once told me something that stayed with me. He said, where you are today is largely a result of the choices you have made in life. When I first heard that, I had questions like, what about the things that happen to us because of other people's actions? How is that my choice bringing me here? Almost as if he could hear my thoughts, he continued. He said, yes, things will happen in life that you have absolutely no control over, but what you choose to do after those events, that is entirely your choice. In other words, when life throws something at you, you still get to decide how you respond. Your response is not determined by life itself. So, will you allow the situation to break you, or will you allow it to build you? There's a popular saying that what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. I don't know if you've heard that before, but the truth is, your choice determines what exactly is being strengthened. Are your experiences strengthening your confidence or strengthening your fears? You never thought of it that way before, right? I guess so. So the next thing is, are they building your wisdom or building your distrust? The direction always depends on the choice you make afterwards. Sometimes you hear people say, I had no choice. And some other people will even say, it happened so fast that I didn't have the opportunity to decide or have the opportunity to make a choice. But if we are honest with ourselves, many of the wrong actions people take are actually choices they made in the moment. Hold on. Let's talk about this. So you see, humans are often drawn to the easiest option, even when it isn't the right one. I have been around for some time and I can nod my head to the truth of that statement. So I'm just going to give you an analogy, all right? So imagine a man who steals money from his neighbor because he needs to pay for his child's hospital bill. And afterwards, he says, I had no choice. If I didn't take the money, my child might have died. That sounds understandable, right? If you listen to it, he had to steal the money because he needed to keep his child alive, right? But doing the wrong thing for a good reason is still the wrong thing. So let's stretch this analogy a little. Indulge me to be a little creative with this example we're giving, all right? So let's say the neighbor had saved up this money to take his daughter to see a medical specialist, and it's an appointment they had waited more than 6 months to see this medical specialist. Now, because the money is gone, the daughter can no longer get the treatment she needs. Now, further, he goes on to tell his wife the money is missing. She doesn't believe him because he has a past history of drinking. She assumes naturally that he may have spent the money responsibly, going out to drink, well, with his host of friends. So now the wife is frustrated and she's deeply hurt. She's thinking to herself, if this guy can blow up money we have saved for our daughter's treatment, then there's no reason for me being with him. So she decides that she has had enough and leaves the marriage. So I know that life doesn't always unfold exactly like this. But you see, this shows us something important. Our choices have consequences far beyond what we see in the moment. And that is why choosing the right path matters. And another thing we must remember is that our choices often come from the values we build over time. What you expose yourself to really matters. So it's important for you to read books, grow your mind, seek knowledge and personal development. It's very important to surround yourself with people who inspire you positively, not negatively. People who inspire you positively. Yes, I know that some people may have been born into difficult circumstances. Maybe there's someone born into a financially struggling family or a home where strong values were not really present. You see, but how you choose to live your life going forward from that point is still your decision. Will you remain poor in mindset because your parents were? Will you justify stealing or selling your dignity because you feel life did not give you a fair start? See, these are choices only you can make. Sometimes in relationships, you hear people say, my spouse made me cheat. And there are some people who would say, they left me no choice. Honestly, that is simply not true. Cheating is not an accident. And I want you to sit with that. Cheating is not an accident. It doesn't just happen. It is usually a series of decisions made over time. You knew where the conversations were going. You knew where the emotional connection was heading. And somewhere along the line, you chose not to stop it. You always had other options. You could choose to remain faithful. You could talk things through. Sit down with your spouse, talk things through. And if the relationship truly cannot be repaired, which I know there are some certain relationships like that, you can respectfully walk away before starting another one. Relationships are not meant to be prisons. They are meant to bring joy, growth. They are meant to encourage partnership. And I dare say that everyone deserves happiness and emotional well-being. So try genuinely to make things work. But if they truly cannot work, make the honorable choice and move forward. So you see, my friend, I want you to remember this. You always have a choice. There is that split second where you think to yourself, is this right or wrong? There's that split second. All right? And I want you to know that today you have a choice to work hard. You have a choice to be honest. You have a choice to love. You have a choice to remain hopeful in life. You have a choice to be respectful. You can choose to be the one who greets first. You can choose not to respond harshly to every rude remark. You can choose peace instead of chaos. I like that part. You can choose peace instead of chaos. You can choose to be the bigger person. And ultimately, you can choose the kind of story your life will tell. Will your life be a story of inspiration, or will your life be one filled with regrets? Sit with that, my brother. Sit with that, my sister. Sit with that, my friend. What kind of story will your life tell? That is our article for today, and I truly hope it gave you something to reflect on. I actually encourage you to listen to it again because sometimes a message becomes clearer the second time you hear it. And I know that this topic is too deep to fully cover in just one article. But if you have questions, feel free to drop them in the comment section. And if you would prefer a private conversation, which I know some people would, you can also send me an email at navigatingwithkey@gmail.com. That is navigating with KEA, one word, at gmail.com. Or, like I love to do, that's the email down there. And I'll be happy to share more thoughts with you. It's my joy to see many more people come to understand the beauties of life. So until I come your way again, my name is Kenneth Eneojor Asenime, KEA Key, and I'm your host on Navigating with Key. So I say, have a wonderful week ahead. Bye bye.